My sister destroyed my engagement due to an obsession with a stranger, so I made that stranger choose me in front of everyone. There's something about the smell of freshly ground coffee that always made me feel safe. Maybe it's because my grandmother owned a coffee shop when I was a kid, or maybe because coffee means mornings, new beginnings, possibilities. But on that Tuesday in March, when I walked into Brew and Pages, my favorite coffee shop in Portland, the smell of coffee was mixed with something I couldn't yet identify. Something wrong. Something that would change everything. My name is Sophie Martinez. I'm 27 years old, and for 24 of those years, I believed I knew my younger sister. I believed that love between sisters was unconditional. I believed that family meant mutual protection. I believed in many beautiful things that turned out to be as fragile as antique porcelain, beautiful to look at, but shattered at the slightest impact. I was meeting Ryan for our Tuesday ritual. Breakfast before work, wedding planning, those everyday moments that build a life together. We were exactly 58 days away from the wedding. I had the countdown on my phone, on the fridge calendar, in my head. 58 days to become Sophie Cooper. 58 days to officially start the rest of my life. What a cruel joke fate can be. Claire was there too, which was strange because she never woke up before 10, and it was 7:15 in the morning. She was sitting alone at a table near the window, distractedly fiddling with her phone, an untouched cup of green tea in front of her. My sister didn't drink green tea. She hated green tea. She said it tasted like wet grass and regret. "Hey, Claire," I called, waving. "What are you doing up at this hour? Did the apocalypse start and nobody told me?" She jumped, literally jumped, as if I had screamed instead of called. Her phone clattered onto the table with a soft thud. When she looked at me, there was something strange in her eyes, an intensity I didn't recognize. "Sophie, hi. I was just having coffee." She looked at the teacup as if she had forgotten it was there. "That's tea." "What?" "Oh, yes, tea. I'm trying to be healthier." She picked up the cup and took a sip, making a face that confirmed she still hated green tea. Something was wrong. I could feel it. But before I could ask, Ryan arrived, kissing me on the cheek and pulling up a chair. "Good morning, love. Claire, surprised to see you awake. Is the world ending?" "Funny," Claire murmured, but she wasn't looking at either of us. She was looking at the door, waiting, watching. And then he walked in. It wasn't dramatic. There was no background music or slow motion. It was just a man walking into a coffee shop on an ordinary Tuesday morning. But Claire's reaction was anything but ordinary. She froze, completely, as if someone had pressed pause on an invisible remote control. Her eyes widened, her lips parted slightly, and I swear I saw her pupils dilate. She was looking at that man as if he were made of pure light and divine promises. He was handsome, I had to admit. Tall, probably 6'1", with dark brown hair that was a bit too long, as if he kept forgetting to cut it. He had that scruffy artist look, worn leather jacket, faded jeans, a vintage camera hanging around his neck, 5 o'clock shadow that looked intentional rather than messy. And when he smiled at the barista, there was something genuine in that smile, something warm that lit up his whole face. "Claire?" I called softly. "Are you okay?" She didn't answer. She was completely absorbed, watching his every move. How he ordered his coffee, how he laughed at something the barista said, how he picked up his cup and turned, looking for a table. Our eyes met by accident, his and mine. He smiled politely, the kind of smile strangers exchange in public. I smiled back and turned my attention to Ryan, who was showing me something on his tablet about reception decor options. But Claire kept looking. Thought, I should have noticed then. I should have seen the signs. But how do you recognize obsession when it still just looks like admiration? How do you know your sister is about to destroy your life for a stranger when all you see is her looking at someone handsome? 3 days later, Claire showed up at my apartment with a frantic energy that immediately put me on alert. "You won't believe it," she practically shrieked, throwing herself onto my couch. "I found him again, the coffee shop guy. He was at Powell's bookstore, and we talked, Sophie. We really talked. I was grading high school students' essays, red pen in hand, reading glasses sliding down my nose. Which coffee shop guy? The guy, the photographer, Daniel. His name is Daniel Foster, and he's amazing, Sophie. He's traveled all over the world. He's been to 43 countries. 43! And he has this way of talking about light and shadows that is, it's poetry. Something about the way she said his name, Daniel, with such reverence, as if she were talking about a saint, made me pause. Claire, how long did you talk to him? 20 minutes, but it felt like 20 seconds or 20 hours. Time didn't exist, you know? It was just me and him and books and this incredible connection that… Claire, I put the red pen aside. Are you okay? You seem very excited. I'm in love, she said, simply, as if she were stating that the sky was blue. My stomach tightened. You just met this guy, twice, for a total of, 25 minutes? You don't understand, she stood up, beginning to pace my small apartment. It's different. He's different. I've never felt this before, Sophie. It's like I've been waiting for him my whole life and didn't even know it. Reflection. My father is a psychologist. He taught me about the signs of obsessive behavior when I was 16, after a student at my school developed a dangerous fixation on a teacher. But when it's your sister, when it's someone you love, you don't want to see the signs. You ignore them. You rationalize them. You think, she's just in love. She's just intense. It'll pass. Claire, look, it's great that you met someone nice, but in love is a very strong word for… You don't believe in love at first sight? She looked at me with eyes so intense that made me recoil. I thought about my relationship with Ryan. We met on a dating app. Our first date was pleasant, but not explosive. It took 3 months for me to say I love you. It took 6 months for him to officially ask me to be his girlfriend. Our love was built slowly, brick by brick, with patience and time. No, I admitted. It wasn't love at first sight. It was growth. Building. Boring, Claire declared, and there was something cruel in her tone that made me blink in surprise. Sorry, but it is. You and Ryan are safe. Predictable. But Daniel and I, we are destiny. We are inevitable. Claire, you've talked to him twice. 3, I saw him yesterday too, at the art gallery in the Pearl District. He was photographing an exhibition. She smiled, and there was something unsettling in that smile. I didn't talk to him this time. I just observed. He's so handsome when he's focused, Sophie. The way he tilts his head, the way he bites his lower lip when he's adjusting the camera. A chill ran down my spine. You followed him? I didn't follow him. I just happened to be there, by coincidence. But her eyes darted away from mine, and I knew she was lying. Claire, this isn't healthy. I need to go. She grabbed her bag, suddenly agitated. I have things to do. But you'll meet him soon, Sophie. You'll see. You'll understand why he's special. She left before I could reply, leaving behind only the scent of her perfume, something too sweet, cloying, and a feeling of unease that I couldn't shake. I called Mia immediately. My sister is acting strangely, I said as soon as she picked up. Claire always acts strangely, Mia replied, pragmatic as ever. Specificity, please. I told her about Daniel, about the connection, about Claire following him. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. When Mia finally spoke, her voice was serious in a way it rarely was. Sophie, you need to talk to your dad about this. This sounds like the beginning of obsessive behavior. She's just intense. She's always been intense. There's a difference between intense and obsessive, and following someone, that crosses a line. Mia paused. Promise me you'll keep an eye on her? I promise. But I didn't keep an eye on her enough. Not fast enough. And when I finally realized the extent of the problem, it was already too late. 2 weeks later, Ryan canceled our Friday dinner. He said he had to work late on an important project. I was disappointed, but understanding. He was an architect at a competitive firm, and deadlines were sacred. No problem, I said over the phone. We'll see each other tomorrow at brunch with our families.
Sure, love you. Love you too. I hung up and decided to use the free evening to finish grading my students' final essays. I made tea, put on soft music, settled on the couch with a pile of papers. I was so focused that I almost didn't hear the knock on the door. When I opened it, Mia was there, and the expression on her face immediately told me something was wrong. "You need to see this," she said, walking in without waiting for invitation. She pulled out her phone, opened Instagram, and showed me a photo. It was Ryan at a restaurant, that expensive Italian restaurant he always said was too pretentious. And he wasn't alone. He was with Claire. They were sitting very close, their heads tilted towards each other, and Claire was laughing that way she did when she wanted to impress someone. Head thrown back, hand on the person's arm, eyes sparkling. "This doesn't mean anything," I said, but my voice sounded weak even to me. "They're friends. Maybe he's helping her with something." "Sophie," Mia put her hand on my shoulder. "Look at the caption." I looked. The photo had been posted by a mutual acquaintance, someone from college. The caption read, "Beautiful couple at Nostrana. When's the wedding?" My world tilted. "It has to be a mistake," I whispered. "She doesn't know Ryan is my fiancé. She just saw them together and assumed." "Or," Mia said, soft but firm, "Claire is doing something very, very wrong." I called Ryan. It went straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. Again. 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 Finally, I sent a text. "Are you with Claire?" The reply came 5 minutes later. "Yes, she was upset, needed to talk. I said I was working because I didn't want to worry you. Sorry, I'll call you later." Something wasn't right. I could feel it, but I couldn't name what it was. Not yet. Thought. Trust is a funny thing. You build it for years, brick by brick, moment by moment. And then, in a second, a photo, a small lie, and the whole structure begins to crack. You don't see the collapse coming. You just feel the ground starting to give way beneath your feet. Saturday brunch was strange. Ryan was distant, constantly checking his phone. Claire was overly animated, talking nonstop about amazing things happening in her life, but being vague about details. "So, Claire," my mom said, pouring more mimosas, "are you seeing someone? You seem radiant." Claire blushed, truly blushed, and glanced quickly at Ryan before answering. "I'm, interested in someone. Someone special." "Oh," my mom clapped her hands. "Tell us, who's the lucky guy?" "Mom, don't pressure her," I said, but I was looking at Claire, and Claire was looking at Ryan, and Ryan was looking at his plate. "He's a photographer," Claire continued, and my stomach relaxed a little. "Daniel," she was talking about Daniel. "He's traveled all over the world. He's perfect." "Have you been on a date with him?" my dad asked, and there was something in his tone, something professional, analytical, that suggested he was also noticing something was wrong. Claire stood up abruptly. "I need to go. Sorry, work." "On a Saturday?" my mom frowned. "Deadlines." He kissed me quickly on the cheek, so quickly I barely felt it, and left. Claire followed him 5 minutes later, muttering something about a forgotten appointment. I sat there with my parents and Mia, half-eaten brunch on my plate, the mimosa champagne leaving a bitter taste in my mouth. "Something's going on," my dad said, breaking the silence. "Something with Claire." I said she's in love, but the word sounded hollow. "She's obsessed," my dad corrected, gentle but firm. "Sophie, as a psychologist, I'm seeing worrying signs. The intensity, the fixation, the way she talks about this photographer as if he's a fantasy instead of a real person. Dad, she's just excited. And the way she looked at Ryan," he continued, as if I hadn't spoken, "there was something there. Something possessive." "Ryan is my fiancé," I said, and my voice came out louder than I intended. "Claire wouldn't do that. She wouldn't. She's my sister." Mia and my dad exchanged a look that I couldn't decipher. "Of course," my mom said, always the peacemaker. "Of course not. We're just worried about both of you." But the seed of doubt had been planted. And doubt, I discovered, grows fast when watered with lies and strange behavior. Reflection. There's a moment in every tragedy where you can turn back. A moment where if you had paid attention, if you had acted, everything could have been different. That brunch was my moment, and I let it pass. If you're enjoying this story, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories. Share in the comments. Have you ever had to deal with an obsession from someone close to you? How was it? When fantasy becomes a weapon. 3 days after the strange brunch, I woke up to 52 unread messages on my phone. 52. My heart pounded before I even opened the first one. They were from friends, coworkers, even former students, all asking the same thing, variations on the same theme. Sophie, is this true? Are you okay? I didn't know you guys broke up. Broke up? Ryan and I? With trembling hands, I opened Instagram. And there it was. A photo of me, or rather, a photo that appeared to be of me. I was in a coffee shop. Brew and Pages, I recognized the background, and I was sitting very, very close to a man who was not Ryan. Daniel Foster. The photo was perfectly framed to look intimate. Our heads tilted together, my hand on his arm. He's smiling at me in a way that seemed affectionate. But I had never spoken to Daniel Foster, had never even sat near him. The caption, posted from an account I didn't recognize, read, "True love cannot be hidden. Sophie Martinez and Daniel Foster. When you know, you know. Hashtag true love, new beginnings. Sorry, Ryan." Thought. Have you ever felt the whole world crumble in slow motion? It's like that. You see every piece falling, every connection breaking, and you can do nothing but watch. Paralyzed, horrified, unable to process that this is actually happening. I called Ryan. Voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I texted, "Ryan, this photo is fake. I never spoke to this guy. Please call me. Urgent." Nothing. I called Claire. She answered on the first ring, and her voice was strangely cheerful. "Hi, sis. Seen the news?" What news? I was screaming. I didn't care. "Claire, there's a fake photo of me with a stranger circulating online, and Ryan isn't answering my calls." Oh, that. She didn't sound surprised or worried. "Sophie, maybe it's time for you to be honest. With yourself, with Ryan." Honest about what? I don't know this Daniel. No. There was something sharp in her voice now. "Because there are more photos, Sophie. Many more. You two at the bookstore, in the park, that art gallery in the Pearl District." My blood ran cold. "You followed me." "I didn't follow you. I was following Daniel. And you always showed up, always near him, always looking at him." She laughed, and the sound was wrong, distorted. "You can't blame Ryan for being upset. Nobody wants to marry someone who's in love with someone else." "I'm not in love with anyone else but Ryan." My voice broke. "Claire, what have you done?" "I saved my future brother-in-law from a marriage based on lies." Her voice was calm. Too calm. Frighteningly calm. "You're sick," I whispered. "Claire, you need help." She hung up. Mia arrived 20 minutes later, bursting into my apartment with the energy of a Category 5 hurricane. "Show me," she demanded, "all the photos." There were 7 in total, all carefully edited to make it look like Daniel and I had some kind of secret relationship. In one, we were holding hands, but when I looked closely, I can see that we're 2 different photos merged together. In another, we were hugging, but it was clearly Photoshop. The proportions were slightly off. "This is defamation," Mia said, her lawyer's voice kicking in. "This is harassment. This is image manipulation. Sophie, we can sue her." "She's my sister." "She destroyed your engagement." "I know." Tears finally started to fall. "I know, Mia, but she's sick. She needs help, not a lawsuit." "She needs both." Mia sat next to me, hugging me as I finally broke down. But first, we need to clear your name, and we need to talk to Ryan. Ryan finally answered me at 11 at night. His voice was cold in a way I had never heard before. "What do you want, Sophie?" "I want to explain. I want you to listen to me." I saw the photos. I saw them all. Claire showed me. He laughed bitterly. "You know what's funny? She was trying to protect me, trying to warn me that you were having an affair, and I didn't believe her. I said she was being paranoid, and then she showed me the evidence." "Ryan, listen, these photos are fake. They're edited. Claire is obsessed with this Daniel, and she's creating a fantasy where... Are you calling my fiancé a liar?" He interrupted, and something in how he said, "my fiancé," made me stop. "Your what?" Silence. Long, heavy, devastating. "Ryan," I said, my voice coming out strange, distant. "What did you mean by my fiancé?" Shit. Sophie, I didn't want you to find out this way." "Find out what?" "Claire and I, we connected over the past few weeks. She understands me in a way you never. She's passionate, Sophie. She's alive. And you're safe, predictable, good." He said good as if it were an insult. I thought I wanted safe, but then I really got to know Claire, and I realized I wanted passion. Reflection. There are moments in life where you literally feel your heart break, not metaphorically, physically. A sharp pain in your chest that steals your breath and makes you think you're having a heart attack. That was my moment. Hearing the man I loved, who I was going to marry, say he traded me for my sister because I was too good? "The photos," I said, my voice coming out in a hoarse whisper. "Claire created the fake photos to convince you I was cheating, so you'd break up with her." "They weren't fake?" "They were. I was screaming, tears streaming down my face. I never spoke to Daniel Foster. I don't even know who he is, besides a guy my obsessed sister follows around town. She edited those photos, Ryan. She manipulated you." "You're being paranoid." "I'm a literature teacher. I work with teenagers. Do you think I'd risk my career, my reputation, my whole life for an affair with a stranger?" My voice was breaking. "Ryan, please think. This doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense." More silence.
"Claire showed me conversations," he finally said. "Messages between you and him, planning dates, saying you loved me, but he was different." "She faked messages," I said, exhausted. "Ryan, she faked everything because she's sick. She has some kind of obsessive disorder, and she created an elaborate fantasy where she gets to have you and Daniel somehow, and I'm the villain who needs to be removed." "I can't do this," he interrupted. "I can't listen to you slander your own sister. Claire loves you, Sophie. She's heartbroken that she had to tell me the truth, but she did it because she loves me too. She doesn't love you. She's using you to get to Daniel." "Enough." His voice was final. "The wedding is off. You can keep the ring. Consider it compensation for the inconvenience." He hung up. I sat in the dark of my apartment, phone still in hand, trying to process that my entire life had just imploded. My engagement, my reputation, my relationship with my sister, everything destroyed by fake photos and a sick obsession. Mia stayed the night with me. She didn't try to comfort me with soothing lies. She just stayed there, solid and present, while I cried until I had no more tears. The next day, I went to work. Because what else could I do? Sit at home and wallow in self-pity? My students needed me. Life went on, even when it felt impossible. But school was difficult. Glances, whispers. Some teachers actively avoided me. Others looked at me with pity. One, Mr. Davidson, who had always been an idiot, made a comment about keeping personal life out of school. I was leaving my classroom at lunchtime when I saw him. Daniel Foster. He was in the hallway, clearly lost, looking at a poorly drawn map on a piece of paper. "Excuse me," he said when he saw me. "Do you work here? I'm looking for the administrative office. I was hired to photograph this year's yearbook, but this map is useless." His voice was pleasant, warm. He had no idea who I was, no idea that his photo was being used to destroy my life. Thought, he was real, not a fantasy, not an obsession, just a real man with a real job, lost in an unfamiliar school. And somehow that made it all worse, because Claire wasn't obsessed with a person. She was obsessed with an idea, a fantasy she created, and that fantasy had destroyed everything. "Follow me," I said, my voice coming out harsher than I intended. "I'll take you there." We walked in silence for a moment, then he spoke. "Are you okay? You seem upset." "I'm fine," I lied. "You don't look it." He stopped, looking at me with genuine concern. "Look, I know we're strangers, but do you want to talk? Sometimes it's easier to talk with strangers." And something in me broke. Maybe it was the kindness in his voice. Maybe it was the absurdity of the situation. Maybe it was just emotional exhaustion. But suddenly, I was talking. "Do you know someone named Claire Martinez?" He frowned. "No, wait. There's a girl who's been showing up at places where I work. Blonde hair, blue eyes, always seems to be watching. She asked me to add her on Instagram a few times, but it felt a little too intense, so I didn't add her." "That's my sister." "Oh." He blinked. "That's strange." "It gets worse." I took a deep breath. "She's obsessed with you, and she created fake photos of us together to destroy my engagement. My ex-fiancé is now engaged to her, and my reputation is ruined because half the city thinks I was having an affair with you." Daniel was silent for a long moment, processing. Then he said the only thing he could have said that wouldn't make me hate him. "Shit, I'm so sorry. That's insane and scary. Did you go to the police? She's my sister. She destroyed your life." "I know." Tears burned my eyes again. "But she's sick, Daniel. She needs help, not jail." He studied me for a long moment. "You're much kinder than I would be." Then he pulled a business card from his pocket. "Look, I don't know what I can do to help, but if you need a witness that we never met before today, or if you need me to confirm that this girl is following me, I'll do it. Nobody deserves to have their life destroyed by fake photos." I took the card, and for the first time in days, I felt something other than despair. I felt possibility. "Thank you," I whispered. "Don't mention it. It's the least I can do." He hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course. Were you really going to marry a guy who dumped you based on obviously fake photos without even giving you a chance to explain?" The question hit me like a punch to the gut. Because he was right. Ryan hadn't given me a chance, hadn't investigated, hadn't trusted me, just believed Claire and the fabricated evidence. "I guess I didn't know him as well as I thought," I admitted. Then Daniel said, gentle, "This is a blessing in disguise. Better to find out now than after signing marriage papers." He was right, and I hated that he was right. That night, my dad showed up at my apartment. He looked like he had aged 10 years in a week. "I failed both of you," he said, sitting heavily on my couch. "As a father, as a psychologist. I saw the signs in Claire and ignored them. I thought it was just a phase, that she would grow out of it." "Dad, you don't." "I failed," he insisted, "and now you're paying the price. But Sophie, I need you to know something. Claire needs professional help, hospitalization probably, and I'm going to make that happen, with or without her consent. She'll hate you." "She already hates me." He wiped his eyes. "She called me today, said I always favored you, that I never believed her, that I was on your side because you're the perfect daughter." He laughed without humor, as if this was about sides, as if this wasn't about her being sick and needing help. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to talk to Judge Morrison. He owes me a favor.
I'll get a temporary involuntary commitment order, 72 hours for psychiatric evaluation. He looked at me. But I need your help. I need you to document everything. The fake photos, the messages, the stalking behavior. I need evidence that she's a danger to herself and others. Reflection. There's something devastating about having to build a case against your own sister, about having to list all the ways she hurt you, all the lies she told, all the lines she crossed. It's like writing an obituary for the relationship, a catalog of death. I'll do it, I promised. But Dad, what then? After she gets out? After she's treated? Then, he said, soft, you decide if you can forgive. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean letting her back into your life as if nothing happened. It just means letting go of the anger. Moving on. I don't know if I can. You can. He squeezed my hand. You're stronger than you think, Sophie. You always have been. I don't know. You can. He squeezed my hand. You're stronger than you think, Sophie. You always have been. If you're enjoying this story, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, tell us, how would you deal with a situation like this? Family or justice? Which comes first? Truth has layers. It took 3 days to gather all the evidence. 3 days of scouring social media, printing conversations, documenting every lie, every manipulation, every fake photo. Mia helped me, working like the relentless lawyer she was, organizing everything into a folder that looked more like a criminal case than my sister's story. But on the 3rd day, we found something that changed everything. Sophie, Mia called me, her voice strange. You need to see this. She was on my laptop, browsing Claire's private profile that we managed to access through a mutual friend's account. And there, buried in old messages, was a conversation between Claire and Ryan from 6 months ago. 6 months. Before Daniel, before the fake photos, before everything. Claire, have you ever thought you might be with the wrong person? Ryan, what do you mean? Just that Sophie's amazing, but she's my sister. I know her better than anyone. And I know you two aren't compatible. Not really. Claire, this is inappropriate. It's honesty. You deserve passion, Ryan. Fire, not warm safety. I love Sophie. You love the idea of her, the good teacher, the perfect fiancé, but you don't really know her. Not like I do. The conversation continued. Page after page of Claire planting doubts, questioning our relationship, offering herself as a better alternative. And Ryan resisted at first, but gradually his replies became less defensive, more open, more receptive. Thought, manipulation doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow process, a gradual erosion of trust, of certainty, of reality. Claire didn't destroy my engagement in an afternoon. She spent 6 months building the foundations of destruction. And I had no idea. She planned this, I whispered. Everything. Daniel was just the excuse, the tool. But she wanted Ryan from the beginning. No, Mia corrected, pointing to even older messages. Look here, 3 weeks before she first met Ryan. It was a digital diary entry. Claire kept a private blog, apparently. Sophie's bringing her new boyfriend over for Sunday dinner. Mom's excited. Dad's doing that annoying psychological interrogation thing he does. And me? I'm curious. Sophie always picks boring guys, safe guys, guys who won't challenge her or hurt her, guys who are basically male versions of herself. Good, predictable, no surprises. But what if this one's different? What if he's interesting? What if he's someone I'd like? Would it be wrong to steal my sister's boyfriend? Probably. But Sophie always had everything. The perfect grades, the perfect job, our parents' love. Maybe it's my turn to have something she wants. Just to see what it's like. My stomach churned. She planned to steal my boyfriend before she even met him. This goes beyond obsession, Mia said, her professional voice masking anger. This is sociopathy, lack of empathy, pathological competition. She's my sister, I said, but the words sounded hollow. Because the person in those messages, in that diary, wasn't the sister I knew. Or maybe it was. Maybe I had never truly known Claire. We kept reading. There was more, much more. Claire had researched Ryan before dinner. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. She knew where she worked, what he liked, his ambitions. She had prepared like an actor studying a role. And after she met him, the diary entries became disturbing. Ryan is perfect. Not for Sophie. She doesn't deserve him. But for me. He's ambitious, intelligent, handsome, and I can see in his eyes that he's not completely satisfied. There's a restlessness there, a hunger for something more. Sophie will never feed that hunger. She's too warm, too comfortable. But I can. I will. When did she meet Daniel? I asked, my voice trembling. Mia scrolled to find the right entry. Here, 2 weeks after she started working on Ryan. Met someone today, Daniel, photographer. Handsome in an artistic, tortured way. Not usually my type. I prefer corporate success. But there's something about him, something magnetic. And then I had an idea, a brilliant idea. What if I could have both, Ryan and Daniel? Not literally, of course. I'm not greedy. But what if I could use Daniel to free Ryan? Make Sophie look like the cheater. Then Ryan would come to me for comfort. And Daniel would see me as the loyal sister who exposed the truth. It's perfect. It's foolproof. I just need photos and patience. I closed the laptop. I couldn't read anymore. I felt like I was looking into the mind of a stranger, a dangerous stranger who shared my DNA. She's not just sick, I said. She's calculating, manipulative. She knew exactly what she was doing. Which doesn't make her less sick, Mia pointed out. Healthy people don't do this, Sophie. Healthy people don't plan to destroy their sisters for months. She needs help. But you also need justice. How do I get both? Your dad gets the hospitalization. I get a restraining order. And you? Mia looked at me. You decide what to do with Ryan. What's there to decide? He dumped me. He's with her. He was manipulated, Mia said. It doesn't excuse his choices. He still chose to believe her over you. But he didn't know the extent of the manipulation. Nobody did. Reflection. There was a part of me that wanted to forgive Ryan, wanted to believe he was a victim as much as I was. But another part, the part that was starting to find strength and anger, knew the truth. Ryan might have been manipulated, but he also chose to doubt me, chose Claire. And choices have consequences. Daniel called me that night. I had given him my number when he offered to help, but I didn't expect him to actually call. Hey, he said, and there was something comforting in his voice. How are you? Honestly, destroyed, confused, angry. I paused. Why are you calling? Because that girl, your sister, showed up at my work today. Again. He sounded tired. And this time she tried to convince me that you and I have some kind of cosmic connection that we're ignoring. She showed the fake photos and said they were proof of destiny. My God, what did you say? I told her she needs to stop following me or I'll go to the police, that I never spoke to you before that day at school, that the photos are clearly fake.
He took a deep breath. She didn't take it well. Started crying, saying I was negating my true feelings and that Sophie poisoned me against her. Daniel, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have been dragged into this. It's not your fault, he interrupted. But Sophie, this girl is dangerous. She's not just obsessed with me. She's created an entire alternate reality in her head, and she truly believes in it. I know. My dad is getting an involuntary commitment order. Good. Silence for a moment. Then, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you still love him, your ex-fiancé? The question caught me off guard. I was silent, really thinking. Did I love Ryan? Or did I love the idea of Ryan? The security he represented? The future we planned together? I don't know, I admitted finally. I loved who I thought he was. But this man, who believed lies about me without questioning, who dumped me over fake messages, who's engaged to my sister weeks after canceling our wedding, I don't know who that person is. Then maybe the question isn't whether you love him, Daniel said, but whether you want him back. I don't know the answer to that either. That's okay. You don't have to know. Not yet. He hesitated. Look, I know this is going to sound strange, given everything that's happened, but do you want to get coffee? For real this time. No fake photos, no obsessed sisters, just two people having a normal conversation? Part of me wanted to say no, because coffee with Daniel seemed to give credence to Claire's fake photos, to the lies she told. But another part, the part that was tired of letting Claire's obsession control my life, wanted to say yes. Why? I asked. Why do you want to get coffee with me? Honestly, because you seem nice, and because I hate that your sister used my image to hurt you. And maybe if we actually become friends, it takes some of the power out of her lies, turns her fantasy into our reality, on our terms. Thought. There was a strange logic to it. Claire had created a fake connection between Daniel and me. What if we created a real connection? Not romantic, neither of us was suggesting that, but genuine, friendship. Something Claire could never manipulate or destroy because it would be built on honesty, not fantasy. Coffee, I agreed, but in public. And I'm bringing my friend Mia, because trusting strangers isn't in my repertoire right now. He chuckled. Fair enough. Saturday, 10 a.m. at Bruin Pages. See you there. When fantasy meets reality. The psychiatric clinic smelled of disinfectant and silent despair. 2 white walls, fluorescent lights that hummed softly, the kind of place that tried to seem welcoming but only managed to be sterile. My father met us at the reception, and the dark circles under his eyes told a story of a sleepless night. She's, volatile, he warned. One minute she's crying, begging to go home. The next she's furious, saying we all conspired against her. And then, he hesitated, then she gets eerily calm and talks about you and Daniel as if you were a real couple who are hiding your relationship. She saw the photos she herself created so many times that she started to believe they were real, Mia said, clinically. It's dissociation from reality, common in severe obsessive disorders. Daniel was quiet beside me, but I could feel the tension in his body. I don't know if this is a good idea, he finally said. Sophie, if seeing us together makes her condition worse, then it gets worse. I repeated the words I had said to my father. Daniel, she destroyed my life based on a fantasy. Maybe it's time for her to see that fantasy is just that, fantasy. That you and I are real people with real lives, not characters in the sick romantic story she created. My father led us down a long hallway to an observation room. Through a one-way mirror, we could see Claire. She was sitting in a padded chair, dressed in hospital clothes, her normally perfect blonde hair disheveled. She looked smaller, younger, broken. And for a second, just 1 second, I felt sorry for her. She can't see us? Daniel asked. Not through the mirror, but we'll go in a moment. I just wanted you all to see her condition first. My father turned to me. Sophie, last chance. Are you sure? I'm sure. The door opened and Claire looked up. When she saw me, her face lit up with hope so pure, so genuine, that it made me feel sick. Sophie, you came. I knew you would. She tried to stand up, but there was a nurse in the room who gently made her sit down again. You need to get me out of here. Dad's being ridiculous. I'm not sick. I was just trying to protect you. Protect me? My voice came out colder than I intended. Claire, you destroyed my engagement with fake photos.
You manipulated Ryan for months. You followed a stranger around town and created an elaborate fantasy about a relationship that never existed. It wasn't fantasy. She was getting agitated. Daniel and I have a connection. I felt it. And you were in the way. You always are in the way, Sophie. Always perfect, always loved, always getting everything you want. I wanted to marry Ryan, I said, calm but firm, and you took that from me. Because he wasn't right for you. He's right for me. Tears streamed down her face now. And Daniel is right for you. I saw it. I saw it in the photos. I saw it in the way you looked at him. Claire, I interrupted, those photos were fake. You created them. You know that. They weren't fake. They showed the truth you were denying. She was screaming now. You and Daniel are destined, and Ryan and I are destined. Why can't you see that? Because it's not real, a new voice said. Daniel had walked into the room. Claire froze, completely, as if someone had pressed pause on a remote control. She looked at him with wide eyes, mouth open, and for a long moment said nothing, just stared. Daniel, she finally whispered, and there was so much reverence in her voice, so much adoration, that it made me feel like I was watching something deeply private and disturbing. You came. You finally came. I came, Daniel said, and his voice was gentle but firm, but not for the reasons you think. You came for me? You finally realized? No. He approached, but kept a safe distance. Claire, we never had a real conversation before. You followed me, you watched me, you created stories about me in your head, but we never truly met. But I know you. She was standing now, the nurse becoming alert. I know everything about you. You've traveled to 43 countries, you love natural light photography, you drink black coffee with 2 sugars, You know facts, Daniel interrupted. Things anyone could find out by following me or looking at my Instagram. But you don't know me. You don't know my fears, my dreams, my flaws. You don't know that I have social anxiety, that I struggle with depression, that I'm not the romantic, tortured artist you imagined. I'm just a guy trying to pay bills with photography. Thought, there was something devastating about watching Claire's fantasy crumble in real time, seeing the realization cross her face that the Daniel in her head was not the real Daniel, that she had fallen in love with an idea, not a person. No, Claire was shaking her head, backing away. No, you're lying. Sophie poisoned you against me. She always does that. She always takes everything that's mine. I was never yours, Daniel said, gentle but final. And Sophie never took me because there was never anything to take. But he looked at me, and there was something in his eyes I couldn't decipher. We became friends, for real, not because of your photos or your lies, but despite them. Claire looked at me, and the hatred in her eyes was so pure, so intense that I took a step back. You did this, she hissed. You stole him from me. I didn't steal anyone. You can't steal a person who was never yours to begin with. I saw him first, she was screaming now, trying to approach, but the nurse and my father held her back. I saw him. I chose him. And you always take everything. Always. The grades, the job, our parents' love. Now Daniel. Now Ryan. Ryan? Mia, who had been quiet until now, spoke. Claire, do you want to talk about Ryan? He loves me, Claire shrieked. He chose me. He saw that Sophie wasn't good enough and chose me. He chose a lie, I said, and my voice was trembling. You manipulated him, Claire, for months. You planted doubts, created fake photos, invented conversations. He didn't choose you. He chose the version of me you created, the cheating, bad, unworthy version. And then you offered yourself as an alternative. I saved him from you. You used him to hurt me, I corrected, because you don't love Ryan, Claire. You love the idea of winning, of being chosen over me. But you know what's funny? What? She spat the word. You didn't win, because Ryan wasn't the prize. He was an insecure man who let himself be manipulated, who didn't trust me, who abandoned me based on fake evidence. And you know what else? I took a deep breath. You did me a favor, because I deserved better than him. And now I know that. Silence. Claire was looking at me as if I were a stranger. "You've changed," she finally said, and there was something close to fear in her voice. "You're no longer the good, predictable Sophie. You're different." "I grew," I corrected. "I grew through the pain you caused. And you know what I found out? That I'm stronger than anyone imagined, including myself." My father asked Daniel and me to leave while he and the medical staff continued with Claire. We stood in the hallway, the hum of the fluorescent lights filling the silence. "That was intense," Daniel finally said. "Sorry, you shouldn't have been dragged into this." "No," he turned to look at me. "I needed to be here, needed to see, needed to understand. And now I do. Understand what? Why you're so strong. Why, after everything she did, you're still standing." He hesitated. "Sophie, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "What are you going to do about Ryan?" The question I had avoided thinking about. The question Mia had asked, my father had suggested, I myself had wondered in sleepless nights. "I don't know," I admitted. Part of me wants to confront him, show him the evidence, the messages, Claire's diary, prove that I was right and he was wrong. And the other part? The other part just wants to move on. Let him live with his choices while I live with mine. Which part is stronger? I thought for a long moment. The second, because confronting him would be about him, about proving myself. But moving on is about me, about choosing my peace over my anger. Daniel smiled. "You're amazing, Sophie Martinez." "I'm a survivor," I corrected, using the words I had said to my father. There's a difference. Is there? Amazing is what you're born being. Survivor is what you choose to become. When he saw Daniel beside me, something crossed his face. Pain? Jealousy? Realization? "Sophie," he said, his voice hoarse, "I need to talk to you." "There's nothing to talk about." "Please, 5 minutes. That's all I ask." I looked at Daniel and Mia. Mia gestured, "Your choice." Daniel nodded, "I'm here if you need me." 5 minutes, I agreed. But they stay. Ryan looked at Daniel with something close to hostility. "He's real then? You guys really?" "No," I interrupted. "We're nothing but friends. Friends who met through horrific circumstances and chose to create something genuine from it. Something your ex-fiancé and your current fiancé could never destroy because it's built on honesty." "Current fiancé," Ryan repeated bitterly. "Claire and I broke up yesterday when I found out the extent of her lies." "And you think that changes anything?" I asked. "You think I'm going to come running back because you finally saw the truth?" "No, I just wanted you to know that I know, that I was an idiot, that you deserved better." He looked at me, and there were tears in his eyes. "And that I'll spend the rest of my life regretting losing you." Reflection. There's something about closure that people romanticize, as if hearing an apology would magically heal everything. But closure doesn't work like that. It's not about the apology. It's about you deciding you don't need one anymore. "I accept your apology," I said, and I saw hope ignite in his eyes. "But I don't forgive you. Not yet. Maybe never. And we are definitely not getting back together." "Sophie." "Goodbye, Ryan." I turned to leave, Daniel and Mia flanking me. "Wait," Ryan called after me. Just tell me one thing. Are you happy without me?" I stopped. I thought. Really thought. "No," I admitted. "Not yet. It still hurts too much. I'm still healing. But I'm getting there. And you know what else? I will be. I'll be happier than I ever was with you, because I'll be happy with myself. And that's something you could never give me." And then I left. I left Ryan in the parking lot, left Claire at the clinic, left all the pain and betrayal and lies behind. Because for the first time in months, I was choosing myself. And that, I discovered, was the beginning of everything. If you're following this journey of overcoming, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, share. Have you ever had to choose between forgiveness and peace? What did you choose? Rebuilding at your own pace. 6 months after Claire's hospitalization, I was sitting in a new coffee shop, not Bruin Pages. That place carried too many memories. Grading my students' essays. It was a September afternoon, the kind of day where summer is ending, but autumn hasn't fully begun. Suspended, in transition, like me. My phone vibrated. A message from Mia. "Dinner tonight? I need to tell you the news." I smiled. Mia always had news, usually involving complicated cases or disastrous Tinder dates. Normality. I had learned to love normality. Sure, 7 o'clock at the Thai place? Perfect. Love you, survivor. Survivor. The word that had become my mantra, my identity. Not victim, survivor. The coffee shop bell chimed and Daniel walked in, camera around his neck as always, smiling when he saw me. "May I?" he asked, pointing to the empty chair. "Always." He sat down, ordered his black coffee with 2 sugars, the detail Claire had observed, but now it was just a fact about my friend, not an obsession. "How was the photo shoot?" "Chaotic. The bride wanted spontaneous photos, but also had a list of 40 specific poses." He rolled his eyes. "But it pays well, so I'm not complaining." "You love it," I teased him. "I do," he admitted. Then he got serious. "Sophie, can I ask you something?" "You always ask that before you ask." "Because my questions are always intrusive." He hesitated. "Do you still think about him? Ryan?" I was silent, really thinking. "Sometimes. Not with longing, more with curiosity. I wonder if he learned anything, if he grew, if he's okay." "Do you want to know?" "Not really. Just, I think about it sometimes." I looked at Daniel. "Why do you ask?" "Because I saw him, yesterday, at the supermarket." Daniel stirred his coffee. He looked lost, buying random things, like a guy who doesn't know how to shop alone anymore. And when he saw me, he froze. Then he came over to talk to me. My stomach tightened. "What did he say?" "Asked how you were, if you were happy, if we—" He didn't finish the sentence. "If we what?" "If we were together." Daniel looked at me. I told him the truth, that we're friends, good friends, but that your life was no longer his business. How did he react? He nodded, said he understood. Then he asked if I thought you would ever forgive him. Daniel paused. I said that forgiveness wasn't about him. It was about you. And that if you chose to forgive, it would be in your time, on your terms. Reflection. Forgiveness. The word everyone expected me to embrace. As if it were simple. As if it were instantaneous. But forgiveness is complicated. It's layers. It's a process. Some days I woke up and felt peace. Other days I woke up and felt anger again. And both were valid. "Thank you," I said, "for defending my boundaries, even when I wasn't there." "Always," he smiled. "But, Sophie, can I give you some unsolicited advice?" "You're going to anyway." "True." He leaned forward. "Eventually, you're going to have to decide. Not about getting back with him, that's already decided, but about forgiving. Because carrying anger, it's heavy, and you deserve lightness." "I know. I'm just not ready yet. And that's okay. Just don't let not yet turn into never out of stubbornness, because then anger wins, and you are bigger than that." Therapy helped. I had started 2 weeks after Claire's hospitalization, reluctant at first, but quickly realizing I needed it. I needed someone objective, someone not emotionally invested, to help me untangle the knot of betrayal, anger, guilt, and confusion. My therapist, Dr. Sarah Kim, was gentle but direct. She didn't let me shy away from difficult questions. "Have you visited your sister?" she asked in that week's session. "No." "Why not?" "Because I'm still angry. And anger is valid. But Sophie, it's been 6 months. At some point, you're going to have to confront that relationship. Decide what it means to you now. She destroyed my life. She destroyed your engagement, Dr. Kim corrected. Your life continues. You're working, you have friends, you're healing. She didn't destroy you. She hurt you. There's a difference. Thought. There's a difference. Those two words became a theme in my therapy.
Hurt versus destroyed. Anger versus hate. Forgiveness versus reconciliation. Nuances matter, and I was learning to live in the nuances. Do you think I should forgive her? I asked. I think you should do what's best for your healing. If forgiving helps, forgive. If it doesn't help, don't forgive. But be honest about which is which. Don't hold on to anger out of principle, and don't forgive out of obligation. How do I know the difference? You feel it. Real forgiveness brings lightness. Forced forgiveness brings resentment disguised as peace. Claire wrote me letters, many letters. My father delivered them, but I didn't read them. Not at first. They accumulated on my desk, white envelopes with her familiar handwriting, each one a reminder of everything that had been broken. But on the night after the conversation with Dr. Kim, after dinner with Mia, after Daniel challenged me about forgiveness, I finally opened one. Sophie, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to reply. I don't expect anything, because I've lost the right to expect anything from you. I'm in treatment, real, intensive treatment. I've been diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and something called erotomania, a condition where you develop delusional beliefs that someone is in love with you. The doctor says that probably always had these tendencies, but they fully manifested when I met Daniel. Something about him, maybe the inaccessibility, maybe the mystery, triggered something in my brain. And then, instead of dealing with those feelings in a healthy way, I created an elaborate fantasy. And you were in the way of that fantasy, so I removed you, not with physical violence, but with something worse, systematic destruction of your reputation and relationship. I'm not telling you this to apologize. Mental illness explains behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. I made choices, cruel choices, choices that hurt you deeply. And the worst part of me knew the photos were fake, knew I was manipulating Ryan, knew I was destroying you. And I did it anyway. Why? Because I was jealous, not in a normal and healthy way, in a sick and consuming way. You always were the good daughter, the smart one, the loved one. And I always was the problematic one, the intense one, the one who worried everyone. So when I saw a chance to have something that you wanted, Ryan, I took it. And when that wasn't enough, when I still felt empty, I created the fantasy with Daniel. A fantasy where I was the heroine, you were the villain, and I finally won. But I didn't win. I lost everything. I lost you, I lost the trust of our parents, I lost my freedom, I lost my sanity. And you know what's funnier? Now that I'm sober, mentally, emotionally sober, I realize I never wanted Ryan. I never wanted Daniel. I wanted to be you. I wanted to have your inner peace, your kindness, your quiet strength. But you can't steal those things. You have to build them. And I spent so much time trying to destroy you that I forgot to build myself. I'm working on that now. Building, healing, trying to become someone who deserved to have a sister like you. I love you, Sophie. I always loved you, even when I was hurting you, especially when I was hurting you, because we hurt the people we love most when we are broken. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking that you know that I know. I know what I did. I know what I lost, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be better. With love, even if I don't deserve to say it, Claire. I cried reading the letter. Not tears of forgiveness, not yet, but tears of recognition, of seeing that she finally understood, of knowing that the pain wasn't unilateral, even if hers was self-inflicted. I didn't reply. I wasn't ready yet, but I kept the letter.
because maybe, one day, I would be. 2 months later, I received an invitation, a wedding invitation. Ryan was getting married, not to Claire, they had broken up months ago, but to someone new, someone he met in couples therapy that he had started alone, ironically, to work on himself. The invitation came with a handwritten letter. Sophie, I know it's strange to invite you to my wedding. I know that probably you'll throw this in the trash, but I have to try. Not because I want you to come, although it would be good if you came, but because I need you to know something. Meeting Jessica taught me what real love is. Not dramatic passion, not intensity that burns fast and leaves ashes, but partnership, trust, daily choice. Everything that I should have had with you, everything that I threw away, because I was weak and insecure and let myself be manipulated. You were right about everything. I never really saw you. I saw the idea of you. And when Claire offered something different, something that seemed more exciting, I jumped, without thinking, without trusting, without giving you the chance that you deserved. I lost the best thing that I ever had, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. But I also learned something. I learned that I needed to lose you to find myself, needed to see what my insecurity and weakness caused to finally do the work of becoming someone better. Jessica isn't you. She's completely different, more outgoing, more spontaneous, more challenging, but I love her. I truly love her, the way that I should have loved you. And part of loving her is being honest about my past, about my mistakes, about you. She knows everything. How I treated you, how I let myself be manipulated, how I abandoned you. And she challenged me to do this, not because she wants to meet you, but because she says that I will never really move on until I make peace with my past. So here it is, my attempt to make peace. You don't have to come, you don't have to reply, you owe me nothing. But if you come, know that you'll be received with respect, gratitude, and recognition of everything that you represented in my life. And if you don't come, I understand, and I wish you all the best. With respect and eternal regret, Ryan. I cried reading the letter. Not tears of forgiveness, not yet, but tears of recognition, of seeing that she finally understood, of knowing that the pain wasn't unilateral, even if hers was self-inflicted. I didn't reply. I wasn't ready yet, but I kept the letter, because maybe, one day, I would be. 2 months later, I received an invitation, a wedding invitation. Ryan was getting married, not to Claire, they had broken up months ago, but to someone new, someone he met in couples therapy that he had started alone, ironically, to work on himself. The invitation came with a handwritten letter. Sophie, I know it's strange to invite you to my wedding. I know that probably you'll throw this in the trash, but I have to try. Not because I want you to come, although it would be good if you came, but because I need you to know something. Meeting Jessica taught me what real love is. Not dramatic passion, not intensity that burns fast and leaves ashes, but partnership, trust, daily choice. Everything that I should have had with you. Everything that I threw away, because I was weak and insecure and let myself be manipulated. You were right about everything. I never really saw you. I saw the idea of you. And when Claire offered something different, something that seemed more exciting, I jumped, without thinking, without trusting, without giving you the chance that you deserved. I lost the best thing that I ever had, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. But I also learned something. I learned that I needed to lose you to find myself, needed to see what my insecurity and weakness caused to finally do the work of becoming someone better. Jessica isn't you. She's completely different, more outgoing, more spontaneous, more challenging, but I love her. I truly love her, the way that I should have loved you. And part of loving her is being honest about my past, about my mistakes, about you. She knows everything. How I treated you, how I let myself be manipulated, how I abandoned you. And she challenged me to do this, invite you, not because she wants to meet you, but because she says that I will never really move on until I make peace with my past. So here it is, my attempt to make peace. You don't have to come, you don't have to reply. You owe me nothing. But if you come, know that you'll be received with respect, gratitude, and recognition of everything that you represented in my life. With respect and eternal regret, Ryan. I read the letter 3 times, showed it to Mia, to Daniel, to Dr. Kim. Are you going? Mia asked. I don't know. What does your gut say? I closed my eyes, really feeling it. It says that it would be closure, but also says that I don't need closure from him. I can create my own. Then do that, Dr. Kim said in our next session. Create your own closure. Write a letter that you'll never send. Have the conversation that you'll never have. Forgive in your heart without saying the words. Whatever brings peace. I didn't go to the wedding, but I wrote a letter to Ryan, to Claire, to myself. Ryan, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the honesty. Thank you for finally seeing the truth. But no, I won't be attending your wedding. Not out of anger, that's already past, for the most part, but because that chapter of my life is closed, and reopening it, even if for an afternoon, does not serve my peace. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, although perhaps you do now, but because I deserve it. I deserve not to carry the weight of anger. I deserve lightness. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean that what you did was okay. It just means that I choose not to let it define me anymore. You were an important part of my life. You taught me about love, about trust, and when you broke both, you taught me about strength, about resilience, about my own worth. So thank you, not for what you did, but for what I became despite it. Be happy with Jessica. Be the partner for her that you couldn't be for me. Learn from your mistakes, grow, and let me do the same. With peace, Sophie. I didn't send the letter. I burned it in a small ritual that Mia and Daniel organized. We watched the words turn to ash, and with them, I felt the last weight of anger disappear. A year after Claire's hospitalization, I finally visited her. She was different, thinner, paler, but also more present. Her eyes, which used to be glazed with fantasy, now were clear, focused, real. Sophie, she whispered when she saw me, you came. I did. We sat in a visiting room, a table between us, heavy silence. I don't know what to say, she finally admitted. I practiced 1,000 times, but now that you're here, I don't know. Then don't say anything, I said, gentle. Just let me see you. The real Claire, not the obsessive one, not the manipulative one, just my sister, she cried, silently, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, for everything. I know that it's not enough. I know that it never will be, but I am sorry. I know. You forgive me? The question that everyone asked, the question that I asked myself every night. I'm working on it, I admitted. Some days, yes. Others, no. But I'm trying. It's more than I deserve. Probably, I smiled, small but genuine. But forgiveness isn't about deserving. It's about healing. And I'm healing, Claire, slowly, but I am. And Ryan? Daniel? Ryan is married, happy, I think. And Daniel, I paused. Daniel is my friend, my good friend. Nothing romantic, not yet, maybe never, but genuine, real. Something that you could never destroy because it's built on honesty. You deserve that, Claire said. You deserve honesty. You deserve real love. You deserve everything that I tried to take from you. And you, I said, surprising both of us, deserve healing, deserve a second chance, deserve to become someone better. Do you really believe that? I'm trying, and it was true, because you're my sister, and blood doesn't guarantee loyalty, but it also doesn't guarantee abandonment. You did horrible things, but you are sick, and sickness deserves treatment, not abandonment. Final reflection. Forgiveness is not a single event. It's a process. It's a daily choice. Some days it's easy, others it's impossible. But every day that I choose to let go of a little more anger, I become a little more free. And freedom, I discovered, is worth more than revenge. 2 years after everything, I was sitting at Brew and Pages again, the place where it all began. But now it was just a coffee shop, not a battleground, not a memorial of trauma, just a place that made good coffee. Daniel walked in, smiling when he saw me. He sat down, and we talked about everything and nothing: work, family, life. And then he said something that made me pause. "Sophie, can I ask you something?" And this time, it's really intrusive. "It always is," I teased. "Have you ever thought about us? Not as friends, as more?" My heart quickened. "Are you asking me out?" "I'm considering it." He smiled, nervous. "But only if you are ready. Only if this won't complicate everything that we've built." I thought about it, really thought about it. Daniel was kind, loyal, honest. He saw me at my worst and stayed. He helped me heal without asking for anything in return. And most importantly, he was real. Not a fantasy, not an obsession. Just a real man with flaws and virtues, offering me something genuine. I am ready, I realized, surprised. Not for anything serious immediately, but to try. To see what we can be when there's no drama, no trauma, just us. He smiled, that warm smile that lit up his whole face. Then let's try. Slowly, at our pace. At our pace, I agreed. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt something beyond healing. I felt possibility. Final message. This story shows us that obsession can destroy lives, not only of the obsessed person, but of everyone around them. It shows that manipulation comes in many forms, and that sometimes the people who we love most are the ones who hurt us the most. But it also shows that you can survive the unthinkable, that you can heal from the deepest trauma, that you can choose forgiveness without forgetting, that you can rebuild your life brick by brick, moment by moment. Family is not just blood. Family is choice. It's loyalty. It's presence. It's love shown through actions, not just words. And sometimes the family that you choose is stronger than the family that you were born into. Sophie chose to heal. She chose to forgive, not because Claire deserved it, but because she herself deserved peace. She chose to give Daniel a chance, not out of revenge against Claire's obsession, but because he was genuine. She chose to become stronger in the scars. And you? Have you ever gone through betrayal that seemed impossible to overcome? Have you ever had to choose between anger and peace? Have you ever discovered that you're stronger than you imagined? If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any emotional stories. Let us know in the comments which story you'd like to hear next. Always remember, you are stronger than you think. Healing is not linear. It's messy, chaotic, full of setbacks, but it is possible. And in the end, you discover that scars are not signs of weakness. They are maps of battles that you won. Obsession destroys, but real love, honest, loyal, chosen love, builds. And building, even if slow, always triumphs over destruction. And you? What do you value more, forgiveness or justice? Or can both coexist? Leave your answer in the comments.